Welcome back, or welcome to Footy with Friends. I'm Brady Larkin, and I'm coming at you on Super Bowl Sunday, the day to celebrate American footy. I'm recording this on Sunday afternoon, so before the big game, and for the moment, all of my focus is still on soccer and the busy weekend we just had in World Footy. In La Liga, Real Madrid had to come from behind to beat a newly promoted team 2-1, and the game winner came in the last 5 minutes. In the Premier League, Man United versus Everton finished 3-3, and this proved Everton is for real. They're definitely going to make a challenge for the top four, and I think they're really going to capitalize on the momentum they've been building. A team that's been losing their momentum in the Bundesliga, Dortmund lost to Freiburg 2-1, which is definitely not the ideal run of form they want with the Champions League knockout round starting up next week. And the big one this week, Man City beat Liverpool 4-1. Like, are you joking me? I mean, clearly a lot has happened, and in a lot of ways, there's a few games that have gone way under the radar. And I got to bring to your attention, there's a World Championship coming up this week. The FIFA Club World Cup final is on Thursday. And the neat story here is we got an underdog advancing to the finals. It's none other than Tigres from Liga MX, the winners of the CONCACAF Champions League. They've advanced all the way to the final. They've been upsetting people on the way. They beat Ulsan Hyundai out of South Korea, which I guess was an even match. And then just the other day, they beat Palmeiras from Brazil, the Copa Libertadores winners, 1-0. It was on a Gignac PK. So they're in the finals. They locked up their spot, and they'll be playing the winner of Bayern Munich and Al Ahly from Egypt. They play on Monday, and yeah, this makes Tigres the first ever CONCACAF team to make the World Cup final in the history of the tournament. And so this tournament's been going since 2000, and what a cool accomplishment already. And I just cannot help but just get behind these teams, these clubs, these leagues, and these confederations that are just publicly all in on the competition. These fans getting behind these teams, like you don't see it enough in Europe because the tournament falls at a weird time of the year, during an already hectic winter league campaign, so it often gets kicked to the back burner. But man, the teams that are gung-ho about it, I mean, it's intoxicating following these supporters on their support of their teams. So good luck to Tigres. I'm assuming it'll be Bayern in the final, but I might tune in to watch that semifinal tomorrow. And see how that goes. But man, this is going to be a good one in the final of the World Club Soccer Championship. Okay, folks, it's on Thursday. Fox has been televising the games. I'm a big believer in just the legitimacy of this competition. It's, again, a World Championship. It's super selective for the teams that qualify. You have to first win your Confederation's Club Soccer Championship. So the UEFA Champions League winners, they're the only team that qualifies from Europe. So that was Bayern. The Copa Libertadores winners, the best team in all of South America, only the winner can advance, and that's Palmeiras. So, like, how cool and selective of a process to begin with, and then even fewer teams go on and win it. So it's really cool. It's really special for the teams that do win it. A little weird, I'll admit, that the organizers award buys straight to the semifinal for those two confederation winners, the CONMEBOL, the Libertadores, and the Champions League from UEFA, just buys right to the semifinals. So a little weird. That's like saying, Kentucky men's basketball gets a bye to the Final Four. What? That's absurd. So I see that argument, and it also might be the last year this tournament is in its current format. So I went on a deep dive. I just about got sucked in a research Wikipedia rabbit hole, but the proposed new format for the World Club Soccer Championship is freaking awesome. It's going to be somewhat like the international World Cups that we're so familiar with. So the proposal is to have 24 teams, the Confederation winners, so say the Champions League winners from the last 4 years and their runner-ups, and it's going to be like that for all the confederations. So this is really cool. I was not aware of it at all. I don't know why it didn't get enough hype. I can only assume it's because of COVID and the impacts it's been making on, international and club soccer scheduling. So I think what was going to be kicked off next year's probably going to be delayed to 2022 or 2023, but it's coming, folks. It's going to be a really exciting club soccer competition. And again, it'll take place every 4 years, like the World Cups that we're used to watching. The first tournament is scheduled to kick off in cities around China. So again, that'll be in 22 or 23. But this is going to be really cool. Again, a super selective and high talent pool of qualifying teams. And then, to see these top teams duke it out, different styles of play from different parts of the world, different coaching, different philosophies, and different ways of supporting teams. The ultras from one part of the world meeting the hooligans of another. I cannot wait to see this go down. And the thing that's going to hold me over is the current format. Again, finals on Thursday. Tigres playing whoever comes their way. They're ready. Let's go. Repping for Liga MX. And most importantly, my guest this week is Zack Novia. Zack and I, we go way back, and it was great to catch up and talk about some of growing up together and everything that came with that, playing for the same club team. So shout out to Soccer Association of Colombia, or whether it was playing for River Hill High School soccer. I mean, we had some great times, and it's always good talking to Zack. And I really got to unpack a little bit more of his really, really neat story of just pursuing his passion. After graduation, he moved out west to Los Angeles and is now enjoying his time working for a professional soccer team. So Zack is the director of digital marketing for Orange County Soccer Club, a member of the USL Championship. So we dive into what it's like working for a professional organization and creating a culture. We talk about some highlights from dealing with an adjusted season in the craziness that was 2020 and all the preparations that they're making now to be ready for the new season in 2021. So stick around afterwards as we talk about some Netflix recommendations. We go through what we're watching, what's hot, what might not be. And I really just hope you enjoy this conversation. So let's get into it. Here's me and Zack Novia. How you been, man?
Yeah, I've been pretty good, man. I mean, as good as anyone can be during COVID, right? I mean, it's just like getting to the point where, you know, this really took off what, like March 2020, and then now we're coming up on
Yeah,
March
exactly.
2021. Like what is this? This is like reality now? Like
Yeah, almost a year.
it's crazy.
How crazy is that?
Yeah, to think this is reality. Like how are things just going to be like snap back to normal like it was? Like I don't know if, you know, things are going to be like that again, but I hope.
I know, I know. What were you doing? What were you doing a year ago?
A year ago, like a year ago at this time,
Yeah.
um, this was the month before our season started. So we were doing all the prep. February is like a really, really busy month leading up to the season start in March. We had our home opener with
Hmm.
fans. Right after the home opener, they were like, "Yeah, you're nothing's gonna happen anymore."
Oh.
Yeah,
So you actually had you had a start and then it got,
yeah,
you know, postponed or just what was it? Kind of wait and see? Or was it straight up canceled?
yeah. It's it feels like it was so long ago. Like we had our home opener that was full capacity with the fans, and then like it seemed as though right after that home opener that's when I think our season was probably delayed like a week or two before they reformatted the season and put us into where we're just playing locally, like the local teams in our
Right.
division. So yeah, and then I think not maybe not right away, but like at towards the end of the season, some teams were able to have partial capacity, but Orange County was just more of a hotbed than other areas, so we couldn't have
Mm.
anyone in that stadium really.
Oh, damn. It looks like a pretty cool stadium. I've never been there, but it seems I like the way it's set up for fans. It seems like it's a cool place to watch a game.
It is a cool place to watch games. So I guess nobody on this podcast, if you're not from Maryland, would understand. But you and I grew up playing on the same club team, so we remember Covenant Park,
For
right?
sure, for sure.
Massive park, all these different turf and grass fields. So the stadium's in the Orange County Great Park, which is essentially the same thing but way bigger. It's just a huge park with all these soccer fields. It actually used to be an Air Force base, so it's just this massive piece of land. And then Championship Soccer Stadium is within that gray park, and it holds
Gotcha.
like 5,200 people. So you look at the mountains when you're in the stadium, so it's
Right. That's dope. And
yeah,
it's
it's
kind
pretty
and
cool.
and the park in the area around the championship stadium, was it? Is that open to the public?
Yes, it's just public, and that's where. So that this is all in Irvine, California. So there is a massive hotbed of club soccer teams. So
Oh
um,
yeah.
that's where all the teams practice, and there's other sports there too. But I would almost say it's predominantly soccer there. I really haven't seen that many other sports, but huge.
Yeah. Oh yeah, big time recruiting out there.
Oh yeah, yeah. You were out in San Clemente. You probably would have headed over to the Great Park if there was a tournament there or something, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they usually host like one or two big youth soccer tournaments a year, it seems.
Yes.
I mean, it seems like a great place to do a big event like that, right?
Yeah. I mean, you have all the fields, they're pristine. It's a great area. Irvine's just a pretty cool area. Like you're pretty close to the beach, pretty close to LA, pretty close to San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
Um, weather's amazing. So yeah, it's pretty much if you're gonna be a club soccer player, Irvine, SoCal is probably almost or at the best that you can get.
Yeah, I know. Seriously, soccer outside all year round. I mean, that's the dream for anyone living like me in the Northeast. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Well, we remember those tournaments where we'd be in like random town, Pennsylvania, and we'd be wearing shorts and just like a tank
That's the
top.
actual name of the town.
Yeah, yeah, really. No, you can look it up. Yeah. It's just
Probably
yeah,
as a diner.
yeah, great diner, just wholesome blue collar like community. Those are freezing. I'll never forget those tournaments. So yeah,
Yeah.
to January in Irvine is like 60.
Yeah, and that's a cold day.
Right. So it's just like unbelievable the opportunity, and that leads to the opportunity, right? I mean, you can play all year round. So it's just like it's very easy to be on a club team and practice all year if you wanted to.
Yeah, and those club teams are going to be better because they can play outside all year. Like if there's two 18-year-old kids, one can only play for 6 months, the other can play for 12. Odds are the kid who's playing all year is going to, improve more.
Yeah, I mean the only thing you could say, right, is like you could play indoor, right? But that's almost
Yeah.
like a different style altogether, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Are you playing with walls? Or are you playing with no walls? Like.
That's a whole other, yeah, that's a whole added thing. And you can keep your touch playing that way, but as far as like the real game, it's a little bit different. But
Hmm. I think tensions run hot in indoor soccer.
yeah, those games get heated. Like, I don't know, it's just like the compact indoor area that just makes you like just very physical, checking people into the boards and stuff. Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
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 just the baseline tension level of indoor soccer is like 10 times higher than just a regular pickup game. It could be the same group and you're outside, it's happy
right,
go lucky. But
right.
inside there's it's just like almost violent.
Yeah, especially East Coast people are pissed. So like, why is it 40 degrees and cloudy every day for 6 months? Like, I just want to get back outside. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. God, don't you miss it?
you know what? There's pros and cons to everything, man. Like, I definitely miss like the potential threat of a snowstorm. Like, I definitely miss that. Uh, I when everything's closed and you can't move, like that is a pretty cool feeling. But yeah, no, like I do think that when we were playing in those tournaments, in the winter, it definitely builds character, man. Like, I
That's true.
can't put a price on that, right? So I don't know. I definitely miss it for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I do too. And I'm still in it, but like I miss uh that environment. I mean, on a close knit club team like ours was, like that was incredible stuff on the weekends.
I mean, those years playing club, all of us are best friends, playing the game we love. Like, you don't realize it in the moment, but when you look back, you're like, wow, that was a very fortunate situation we got to be a part of. Like, I mean, it's like a dream. It's like the Sandlot. It's like a movie.
Yes. Yes. Sandlot 1. I heard they made a Sandlot 2 and we don't talk about that.
Yeah, I didn't even watch it or look it up on IMDb just to give the other one justice.
No, no. It probably got whatever the lowest thing on Rotten Tomatoes is.
Yeah,
Just a moldy tomato or something.
maybe a negative score. Yeah, who knows?
Yeah. Well, let's rewind for a sec and talk about what you're doing now because you have a really cool job in the soccer world. So for Orange County Soccer Club, and what exactly are you doing, and what does that look like? I guess on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, so I came in as the digital director of marketing, and I oversee and execute basically anything digital, right? So whether that's social media, Facebook ads, so digital advertising, there's email marketing, um, there's the website, there's our app. Our app is fairly new. So really anything that you could think of digitally, like I'll be playing a role and most likely be the one in there doing it. And like you said, basically you can go to any company, do digital marketing, right? Any company uses digital, social, whatever, but to do it for a professional soccer team is like it's just fun. Like it's just like I'm posting about soccer and fans, and like it's fun. So yeah, I've been there almost, I think, a little over 2 years now. So this will be my third season coming up, which I'm pretty excited about. I hope it's a little more fun than 2020. Let's just say.
Yeah, what did your 2020 look like with the marketing side of things when there wasn't a season?
Yeah, so that's interesting, right? Because we didn't have any sort of capacity for fans. So it wasn't like 25% capacity, right? Season ticket holders, you can come in.
Nothing. Yeah.
nothing. So, and that doesn't just take away from ticket revenue. That takes away from concessions, merchandise sales,
Mm-hmm.
right? And getting people out to our games and events is like the main part of why we exist. Creating those fun memories for people in that environment, like that's the whole reason why we're in business. If we couldn't have people out to our games, like what, you know, that's really just like the fundamental part of what we're doing. So yeah, that was definitely a bummer. And like us, like anybody else, we were like, we had to pivot quick, and this was happening so quickly. Um, so we kind of thought about, what can we do right now if we can't sell tickets and make that revenue that way. So we kind of thought, all right, we basically came up with the concept of like, we'll like basically build up like weapons and ammunition, right? And like build up our army for then when we go out to fight next year, kind of like that analogy.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Um,
Yep.
so from a marketing perspective, we focused on growing our social media channels and growing our email database, and really focusing on that growth. So when the season comes around for 2021, we have more people to
Mm-hmm.
market to. And so we've built up all of this steam with social media and email database growth that now, hopefully in 2021 it will all pay off. More people will know who we are. The brand will be, the awareness will be greater. So that when we go to Facebook and say, hey, season tickets are on sale, or single game tickets are on sale, people are like, oh, you know what? I've seen them through all the efforts.
Right. They recognize Orange County.
Yeah. So that's in a nutshell. That was the goal from a digital perspective.
And how'd it go?
It went great. So the USL, our league, gives us data and statistics on our performance over the year compared to the other teams. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we're obviously not one of the bigger teams. So the big teams in our league are, Sacramento and Phoenix, and New Mexico. Those are sort of the big market teams. We're a bit smaller in terms of our uh, stadium capacity and our company size. So we are a little bit different there. However, we made the top 10 for social media network um, engagement. So that was great. So we were one of the top 10 highest um, engaging social media networks in the league. And we made the top 5 for growth. So we were,
All
I believe,
right.
number 3 for Twitter, number 5 for Instagram, and number 7 for Facebook. Um, so that was a pretty good sign to see that, like, at least we weren't one of the clubs that really struggled with this and couldn't find a
Right.
solution. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So we got those results pretty recently, and we were super happy about them. And now's the time to really we got all these people and we got more followers and people in our email database. So now's the time to convert.
Mm-hmm.
So we're pretty pumped to really turn that page and gear up to do that.
Yeah. Oh, I bet you are. And it sounds like you had this success because you went in with a plan, not just you, but like the club and the organization, to really have an intention about 2020 and making use of it for what it was. So yeah, I'm hopeful for you guys that it pays off in 2021. When I guess when may it pay off? When does the season come back?
So there's not a set date yet, but I believe it's going to be, I think, April, May. So I think late April, early mid May, something around there. I don't think teams have their set dates yet. The schedules are still being created, but I think they're going to be released pretty soon. Um, so that's what we're looking at, and then we're looking at a March preseason start.
Okay.
So just praying that everything goes smoothly and we could just play soccer again.
I
That
know.
here, that's another note. Not to predict the next question you were going to ask, but like as far as how you entertain people when you don't have access to the players and stuff. Um, it was funny. We had the USL Winter Summit, and that's when the league gets these like people to speak on these panels, and we learned from them and everything like that. And they had, I think, the digital content director for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Colorado Rapids, and they were just sharing sort of their success stories and how they pivoted through COVID. And they basically echoed what I was thinking the whole time and what other people were saying. Like, people are so sick of these, like, you know, virtual events sort of thing, and, like, like
Yeah.
at home recipes and stuff. And, you
Mm-hmm.
know, they just wanted behind the scenes content. So I thought that was kind of cool and something to note. Uh,
Okay. I can
yeah,
see that.
yeah. So something going forward, like, we definitely want to focus on, like, telling the story of our players. That's why when the preseason starts, it's just going to be so exciting to capture, like, soccer again, to give people just something else to focus on. Like, here's live sports. Like, we'll do all this fun stuff over here, but here's the story going on, and you could follow the players and learn about them. I think that's just going to be such a relief to people, a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, and man, that's right up my alley. I'm a sucker for behind the scenes content of athletes, soccer players, Liverpool players. Like, if you give me some, like, it could just be a smidge more than you see on TV. Give me like a little tunnel cam. I'm in. Like,
Wow,
give me
yeah.
some locker room action, or, like, I don't know, like 3 minutes of content from, like, the training ground. Like, they could just be passing in a circle, and it's like you just pick up on, like, relationships that you don't see from, like, the TV cameras from the games, you know?
That is so interesting for two reasons. One, you know, like, multiple accounts or broadcasters, whatever, can capture the game,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, like, if we just show the game, it's not, in a sense, proprietary,
You're no different. Yeah.
right? But, like, the thing that we can control is the behind the scenes content. Like,
Mm-hmm.
nobody else can get that except for us. So then we actually provide something totally unique. And then the other thing is, why is that? Why do we love behind the scenes content? Why do we love that stuff? And, like you said, even if it's just small, even if it's just like the guys, like, like kicking the ball around in a circle, warming up, like, why, do people love that?
Well, you get to see that it kind of clicks, like, oh my gosh, they're actually just real people, and they play a sport, and you get to see them up close, and, like the inside Liverpool, inside training, like every time without fail, Sadio Mane last out of the locker room, last one on the field. I'm like, oh, look at that. He's last again. And it was like, I wonder why. Is he lazy, or is he just goofing around in there? Who knows? But
Right.
you just pick up on little things. Like, this is the inside I crave.
Yeah. And I think that can all, it's definitely human nature, right? Like, I think we all love to, like, feel like we relate to something, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, if we see a video or something, and, we see somebody doing something funny, and it reminds us of one of our friends or reminds us of ourselves, like, it
Yes.
connects. And so that's what that behind the scenes content is. It's not staged where it's like, hey, I'm here to sell this merch. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
you feel like it's real. And that's the beauty behind social media. Social media can really pull back that curtain if you do it right. And it can be different than your average scripted TV show, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
um, that's personally a huge focus for me this year, is to really capture the story of the team and get that behind the scenes content. Um, because I just think that's going to do wonders for our club overall, and even in ways that we can't see initially. Because it's like, if you're going to buy a product, like, if you see an ad for a product and you've never seen that brand before, you're not as likely to purchase if you had seen that brand before,
Mm-hmm.
maybe once or twice, or if a friend said, hey, that brand is really cool, you should try it, like a referral or something.
For sure.
So I just think people going to our page and seeing all that behind the scenes content, and then when they find a ticket offer, they're like, well, I want to go see that guy I really connected with and saw them behind the scenes doing something funny. Like, now I want to go to the game
Yes.
because I know who these guys are. Like, I think that's a
Yes.
huge key.
That's a great point. And it got me thinking about like what am I doing? Like what are we doing as the University of Rochester? What are other colleges doing to, I mean, not necessarily sell tickets, but there's a big focus on connecting with alumni and recruits and families. So what have you found is the, maybe you shared it before, like is what's the most effective way to engage the audience? Is it through Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, or like what do you find gets the most traction?
Yeah, I initially would probably say Instagram, but Twitter being a close second.
Okay.
So I think at first I'll speak for our fans, for the Orange County fans. So um, I think Facebook, there's just so much going on in Facebook. Like Facebook isn't just like one feed. Like there's everything. There's products, there's marketplaces, there's live streaming, there's there's so many different things going on in Facebook that I feel like it's more of like a vast,
Mm,
land, right, where stuff can get lost. Um, and I feel like Instagram is just so much more of a focused platform where your feed's a little bit more focused. You have the discover page.
that makes sense.
Yeah, like it's less sensory overload, I think, on Instagram.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
I think like when you're following somebody or a business or a page or a celebrity influencer, whatever on Instagram, it's just easier to like check in with them, see their page. So yeah, I think for our fans, Instagram is really fun. And I think um, my job is to constantly test, right? Throw out a piece of content, throwing stuff up against the wall, seeing what sticks, and distilling the characteristics of why they like what they like. Like for us, a perfect example, like if we put up this jersey and then did a side by side photo of our white jersey and then asked our fans pick one, orange or white, they
Yeah.
love that. So
Yeah.
that anything we do with like jersey and like combining different elements of our jersey and asking our fans like, do you like this, do you not like this, what, like they love when you involve them in whatever you're doing so they feel like they're a part of the club. And so that's huge. So our strategy on Instagram is really to have an open conversation. Like it's not just post this and
Yep.
whatever. Like it's always like tell us what you think, comment, like we want to hear from you because that's authentic. So
Hmm.
but then I'll speak. So we're club partners with the Rangers.
Yes. Oh man, we're getting there. Tell me about this.
Yeah. Um, so obviously announcing the partnership with the Rangers was just huge. I mean, it's not only that they're um, a big club, like they're one of the biggest, and they have one of the best histories of the game, like in the whole sport. Um, so partnering with them was just insane. Like from a soccer standpoint, where we're now developing this pathway with them. So we're developing players, and now our players in the community can see if you develop with Orange County, you have a shot and you can go play for the Rangers, whether it's their academy team or their first team or their women's team.
Hmm. Awesome. That's so cool.
So it's like, right. So if there's like a team in the USL that's an MLS affiliate where it's like, hey, play for our two team, you could potentially make the one team.
Absolutely. Yeah.
For us, we're not going to the MLS. We're going overseas, where a lot of players develop anyway. And it's not to say like you shouldn't develop in the states. You should, of course, develop in the states. If you grew up in the states, that's your home country. We want you to develop with us,
Yep.
but we're not going to deny the fact that soccer or football, as they call it, has been around forever. Americans tend to like sports they invent, aka football and
Yep.
and what basketball, and I think we invented or claim to have invented baseball, right? So we're going to stick to those. And
Sure. Sure.
so yeah, with the Rangers, it's really about that pathway to professional. And but on a social media side, I mean it's crazy. I mean we have a lot of Rangers fans now, and
Nice.
we'll make custom content for them to engage them, and they're amazing. They're so passionate about their team. They're so involved with what's going on, and they're really supportive of us. um, they don't just see us as like this little toy club or something like that. They really like are like, wow, these guys are our partners. They're developing players. We developed Aaron Cervantes for 3 or 4 years, and then now he's going to be with the Rangers. So
Mm-hmm.
that's just like he's the shining example of what this partnership can be at its potential. So um, that partnership has really put us on, I think, a bigger global scale, and it's just really, I think, could provide a huge opportunity for any young player in Orange County going, wow, I can develop with Orange County and have a pathway to go play overseas if I want, if I'm good enough. So I think it's huge.
Yeah, holy cow. What a way to stand out in such a competitive soccer landscape in California, in LA. Like, that's huge to not only have, like you said, the sure, you could set your sights on being a first teamer for Orange County, or making your way up in the USL. And there's this whole other thing that we can offer. We have, like, a pipeline, a relationship that um
Yeah.
that's so cool. And man, I was just going off on last week's episode praising Rangers and the job they're doing, the job Steven Gerrard is doing as a coach there. It's incredible. So yeah, to be in a relationship like this with such a top performing club is big time.
Yeah, I think they're up like 25 or 26 points right now, which is
Yes.
like unheard of.
Yeah.
Uh, so they're yeah. Oh, by the way, they're having a legendary season.
Right?
But yeah, it's just really amazing to have them as partners, and we've really chosen to lean in to their fans and their audience on social media. And yeah, I mean the USL is the fastest growing second division sports league in the world. Um, and so the thing is everybody else has second tiers, third tiers, like great development programs and everything like that. I don't know what the USL is going to develop into, if it's going to directly compete with the MLS, or
Mhm.
if it's going to shift more towards the USL will be like literally the premier league to develop talent.
Sure. Sure.
But all I can say is like America does not have any shortage of talent. Whatever we want to do as far as sports, we can do it. It's just a matter of, our top athletes are going to other sports, right?
Mhm.
So, but I think with the younger generations, and I think as we're progressing as a country, I think there's this feeling of like we want to be a part of the world a little bit more, as opposed to really being siloed as just like America. So I think that soccer is going to grow. It's going to continue to grow. And when America starts sending the LeBrons to soccer, like
Game over.
watch out.
World
Yeah.
Cup, Olympics, like, let's go.
Yeah. Well, we still got a little ways to go because other countries have been playing the game for so long that there's still a learning curve. But like, still, when we have our top athletes like prioritizing soccer, it's going to be a game changer.
It will be. Yeah, it's I guess a blessing and a curse to have such a big country geographically, such a diverse population, and so many options, so many sports that you have a choice to play. Um, so yeah, if we just get it trending just a little bit towards soccer, oh man, that's going to make a difference. Yeah. I mean, overall, I'm optimistic about soccer in the States. I mean, you see it trending from your side. I see it trending upwards in participation from, a recruiting side of things. There's more and more teams. The teams are getting better, girls and boys. So I think soccer's here to stay for sure. And yeah, we got some American names making noise in the biggest teams in the world right now. So it's exciting. It's exciting.
Yeah. And then, oh, by the way, our women's team is like one of the greatest sports teams like ever. Like
Yeah.
I seriously, and I don't think I ever would have imagined this. I don't think I enjoy watching a team more in any sport than like our women's national team. Like for some reason, that team and what they've built and the chemistry and like how everyone just comes in and just fits that, that same spirit that's on that team. Like I can't even explain it. Like, and I never would have thought I would be so passionate, you know, about a girls team, right? Because it's like I'm a guy, I want to, relate to something, but like the girls just crush it, man. Like I want like
Yeah.
a um, if I was gonna get a jersey, oh man,
Who would you get?
who's your one player? Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think. Like if I could rep one player. Oh my God, it's so hard because I literally could name you all of them and why they're all so awesome. Um, the first ones that come to mind are probably like Ertz, Lloyd, Rapino, and Lavelle, probably. I mean, like,
Oh
but
yeah.
they're all so good. I could go on about all of them. Like, um, it's yeah, that's my favorite team right now, and they're amazing. They're in that She Believes Cup coming up in later this month, which is going to be incredible. Super excited about that. You watching the women's?
Oh yeah. I'm watching I mean, I watch the women's national team whenever they're on. Trying to get more into the women's National Women's Soccer League when that comes back. But yeah, you're exactly right. Like it's hard to choose a favorite if you were to get a jersey. But I think that comes from maybe the fact that it feels like we know them.
Yes.
It feels like you know these women more than you know the men's team, for example.
Yeah. Why is
And
that? That's weird.
why is that? And maybe they're a little more present on social media, or you see them. Um, I don't
Well, they've
know.
also been in a lot more tournaments and games, and it's
It's true.
they're winning. But um, yeah, but no, I definitely see what you're saying. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, like I can't name everyone on the men's national team, but I can definitely name everybody on the women's. It has to be just due to their success, right? I mean,
Oh, I think success has a lot to do with it. Um, and there's definitely been like a thread of the same team culture and like spirit from the women's team since like 1999 when they won the World Cup to today, right? 20 what, 1 years later, 22
yeah,
years later, it feels like the culture is the same. It's probably like refined a little bit. Like we're super competitive. But we're also best friends off the field. There's like this good push and pull of like challenge and support where you look at the men's team over that same time period and like yeah, they've had a few coaches just like the women's team, but it feels like it's up and down, right? It's just like
yeah.
ebbs and flows of like who are we? Who are these guys? And then like, oh, this is how we play. And then 2 years later, like, what just happened? Who are we now?
You completely nailed it because it's the same exact spirit from like the Mia Hamm, Brandy Chastain,
Same thing.
but it's the same thing. And you literally look at Rapino and you're like, she's the same like vibe and spirit as the legends that came before her.
Yep.
What is that? It is the exact same like mojo, or I like it's hard to put it into words, but to sustain that for that long and to have like that same like when those girls go into the locker room, and when they're a part of the team, like they just like they know like what who's come before them, the work ethic they need to bring, like it is so defined.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the magic. That could be a whole nother podcast describing the magic of the US women's national team.
Right. Have you heard of it comes from the New Zealand rugby team, the All Blacks, the phrase Waka Papa?
No, I'm familiar with that team, but not that saying.
So yeah, so the team is legendary because of their sustained success over an incredible amount of time. They had like an 80 plus, maybe close to 90% win rate over like I don't even know, 50 plus years, more than that, right? So like
Right.
in a big scale like that. That's very impressive, right? But they have this really well established team culture, and the phrase like "Waka Papa" sort of sums up what you were just describing. Like, how does the women's team doing this? Where Rapinoe is sort of connected to the Mia Hamm class of women because it's just in the spirit of like of your ancestors or who came before you and what they did, and they sort of pass down the shirt to the next group. And so like so it's the same thread of team culture and what you stand for, from one generation or one player to the next. So they have like these crazy ceremonies of here's the number 7 shirt, you're getting this now, like, and you're inheriting the 10 people that wore this before. So it's more than just like, oh, I'm showing up here to play Trinidad and Tobago on Friday. Like,
Right.
yes, and remember who you are and what you're playing for.
And so that's why I think you could write a book on this, right? Because what you just said is so accurate about both of those teams. But the crazy part is it's not like those teams have had the same coach or owner, right? And then like
Right.
that owner or coach, that one guy was responsible for then establishing the the work culture or the energy. It's like the U.S. women's national team in New Zealand. Like I'm sure they've had multiple coaches,
Yep.
right? They've had multiple players. So
Yeah, it's not top down. That's not going to last, right? It's coming from within, from the players, from a captain or like a group of people. Like sustain anything sustained like that isn't going to come from an owner or or a coach. That's I
So
don't
what
see
is
that.
that? And that's the thing. That's the thing. Like what is that, right? And it's just this like intangible thing that we're talking about. And it sounds crazy when we say it's like it's just a vibe or just a feeling, but it's so true and it's contagious and it's infectious, and that is what ultimately leads to their success.
Yep.
Um, so how companies and stuff have like some big companies have like positions where it's like head of culture, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
like oh, interesting. Like that's why, right? Because culture plays such a big role, um, in the success of everybody that works there. So
Yep.
that's interesting, man. Culture is everything.
Culture is everything. Yeah. Speaking of, there's the Minister of Culture, Matthew McConaughey. He's he's I don't know if that's a self-proclaimed title, but he's involved in the USL somewhere.
Oh,
Austin maybe?
is it the USL or is it the?
Or maybe they're the next group of MLS teams coming
I think
up.
it's the MLS team coming to Austin.
Okay. Maybe that's what it is.
That's interesting. Yeah, a lot of people get involved. Um, I think people just see the growth and it's fun. Like right, like Will Ferrell with LAFC.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of these people are like, yeah, I'll get in with soccer. Like this is fun. Like you know,
Yeah, it's a very low barrier of entry sport. Like
seems
no
like it.
one's no one's throwing down for US curling or like water polo. Like it's more accessible. It's like here's soccer. And if someone's not familiar with the sport in general, you could explain it fairly quickly. There's one ball and there's two goals and you go back and forth. You have your buddies to help you do so, right?
Right, right.
Or it's like curling and you're well, there's these four things that we're not sure if it's ice, but you can't wear skates and there's a broom and there's a bullseye. Like who? What?
Yeah. It's cool to watch in the Olympics for 35 minutes before Shaun White does like 6 backflips, but
Yeah, yeah. They show curling in between heats.
right, right. Not to if anybody watches this podcast that's really into curling, not to say that your sport is less uh, impactful or anything, but no, I totally see what you're saying. But like, just imagine like Austin, uh, you know, having a packed stadium in Austin, Texas, with beer and barbecue, and you're at the soccer game, like, that provides a different environment than like a basketball game or, not to really compare head to head sports, but there's just something to be said about like getting passionate about your local soccer team and having an incredible like event in an awesome city. Like I think that's going to be super successful.
I agree. And I have a theory as to why soccer is maybe a better experience than a basketball or a football. I think it's the free flow of soccer doesn't allow for as much generated, like, here's crowd noise. We're gonna chant like defense, defense,
Huh.
or like, or the basketball, like, some stadiums, if you're watching on TV, you can hear like an organ. Like, who's playing an organ as they're dribbling up the court? Like,
Right.
that's not happening in soccer. You can kind of be engaged the whole time. And well, the best atmospheres in stadiums, like Rangers at the Ebrox,
Yep.
like, those fans are generating their own community and chants, and it's much more like off the cuff than okay, we're gonna go to the Staples Center and we're gonna tell you when to chant when the Lakers are doing whatever.
Wow. I think you hit the nail on the head. And I think then you realize, right, like why do basketball games have like the DJs, right? The
Why
DJs,
is
they
there a
have like
DJ?
every intermission, there's like a check it out, foul shot, like, like
Yes.
so, but then you ask yourself, well, why do they do that? And there's so much stoppage with football and basketball. There's an
Mm-hmm.
out of bounds, there's a foul, there's a timeout. Like, what if there wasn't any crowd generated DJ stuff with the organ? Like, then people would be like standing around, like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, But that's a
Yeah.
great point. Soccer just goes on and on and on. You're in it. It doesn't feel like jarring, right? Like, play, 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 stop, play, 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 stop, timeout, sub. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's that constant flow, which evidently I think is part of the reason why soccer is not so popular in the States, because advertisers can't advertise as much as they want to.
Yeah, it's a little abnormal. It's not exactly what they're looking for.
But and here's my thing, right? But when you watch a soccer game, they have the field boards, right? They have the field boards. Like, I think they can
Like
get
the digital
creative.
ones that change.
Yeah, like that's got to provide value. So I guess maybe the value of that type of in-game advertising isn't as powerful as like straight up ads, like covering the
Mm,
full screen during a commercial break. So I think there's probably some, difference there, but
yep.
I don't know.
Yeah, speaking of all the music going on at say a basketball game or a football game, um, music brought you to LA in the first place, right?
Yeah, it did. Yep.
So let's unpack that. What got you moving out west in the first place? I guess before Orange County was on your radar.
Yeah. So freshman year, like sophomore year of college, that's when I really got into like music producing. And that was my focus all throughout college. I was like, I love this. This is what I'm going to go do as soon as I graduate. I'm going to move to LA. My uncle lives in LA. It's perfect. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I remember the day um, I graduated from Towson. We got in the car, went home, like packed, and then like us and I think it was Calvin Simonson and Jameson Kokas. We were like driving to Ocean City to celebrate. We just graduated college, right?
Absolutely.
My uncle calls me in the car and goes, I got you a graduation present. And I'm like, oh, cool. What is it? He's like, I got you an internship at Westlake Recording Studios, which is one of the best recording studios that you could ever go to, right? Like Bieber, it's famous for the Michael Jackson where he recorded Thriller. Um,
Wow.
yeah, I mean, like Justin Timberlake, everyone has recorded there. So I was like over the moon, right? And I went out there and interned, and um, Yeah, I took a one-way ticket to LA. I went out there, started the internship, found an apartment within a couple days. I had a week to find a job in an apartment, um, and then began that internship. What I discovered is that internship was mainly for audio engineers, and
Okay.
not necessarily music producers. So audio engineers are the ones that they're on the mixing board and they're really designing the sound, mixing the sound, putting the final touches on the song, right? Like if something's too loud, they lower it. If it sounds too abrasive, they put an EQ or a compressor on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to be a producer, which is you create music from the ground up for an artist.
Right.
And so you can't really just go to too many places and say, "Oh, I want to be a producer," and then somebody takes you under their wing, right? Like we all dream about when we come to LA. But I was lucky enough to get into their music academy that they were launching, so I went there and learned a lot. Produced a couple songs with over a couple million plays, and it was great.
Nice.
But then here's where the fundamental switch happened, right? You as time goes on, you realize why you do things, and I realized that like music producing for me and producing, beats or music or whatever, or just playing on the keyboard, um, was just therapeutic to me. Like it was me, like it
Yeah.
was an emotional outlet. It's like if someone were to go home and have a nice glass of wine and like paint, like maybe that's what they like to do,
Mhm.
as an outlet of expression or whatever. So for me, mixing that with trying to monetize sort of took like the love and like the reason why I do it out of it.
Yeah, I could
So
see that.
yeah, so it's just like, yeah, I like to do this when I get home and hang out and just make some beats for fun. But like if I really want to like monetize this and pay my rent off this, like there's gonna need to be a fundamental shift in like what I do.
In the
And
whole process of it.
yeah, and so so it was a mixture of that and then like also like I just wanted to be around like a different set of like a different work environment. Like I got really into social media and branding and marketing people and doing that whole thing. So um, that's where I really, really loved and started focusing on that. And then I pursued that extremely hard and that took off and spiraled. And um, now I've done that. And then, but luckily I've then taken that and then found something that I love to do it within, right? So like
Mm-hmm.
loved marketing, social media branding, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I love soccer too. I can combine the two.
Oh, have you seen the Netflix show The Song Exploder?
No, what is that?
So, oh man, Mackenzie and I just stumbled on it. It must have been like recommended, right? It's I mean, there's like 8 episodes, maybe. Like we crushed it, right? And it's an interview series with the host, and he interviews bands and artists about their about a specific song. It might be like a well-known song from that band or that person, and they kind of unpack it
Wow.
in a lot of different senses, like break down like the meaning of it and the whole songwriting process, but also kind of like you were talking about, like an audio engineer, right? Like the layers of the song. So this guy's like, "Oh, look, here's your song," and it's like the garage band
Yeah.
of like closing time, right? And it's like, what's this mean? And it's like, oh, like that the whole process of it, I just found fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people don't know that like when they hear a song on the radio, the like the back end, if we will, of that song and like the project file, those vocals are like there's probably like 10, 20 tracks of vocals all layered upon one another with effects and delays and reverbs um
Yep.
and nowadays you have auto tune and you have melodyne where you can like literally correct someone's pitch in tone. It's like, wait, what? Like
Wow.
yeah, well obviously the T-Pain effect, right? So T-Pain, he was like the first person that like really embellished on or
Hmm.
leaned into auto tune. Ironically, he can actually sing in real life, but
I've heard, yeah, he did like a Tiny Desk concert. I was like blown away.
Yeah, which is weird to me because I get like that's his shtick, right? Like the heavy autotune use, but like if you can also sing, that's like that's like someone really fast, like playing goalie. It's like, you're probably best suited for another position. Like, shouldn't you just sing? Like, I don't know, but obviously
Hmm.
it worked out for him. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I got to check that out. I just finished up two shows that I'll recommend. The first one, have you seen Cobra Kai?
Oh, yes, but I have not seen the new season.
Oh my God.
I
Yeah.
was I was I was binging it when it was on YouTube. So I burned through like the first two seasons. Isn't the third one the one
Yeah.
on now? Yeah, I got left off. Like Miguel was in the hospital or something. Like dude
Oh,
broke his
yeah.
back. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
he got kicked
That
off
dude
of
got
ledge.
impaled on like the railing in school.
Yeah. That was a bit aggressive, I will say that. But I guess it is a reality if like you embark upon like karate fighting as a, you know, as a big thing you're interested in with like gangs and stuff. But yeah, oh, that was what an unbelievable spinoff. I mean, the creativity. Um, yeah. So I had like, when you finish like a show and you have like depression, you feel like you like lost your family members. You're like, wow.
Yes. Yes.
So the other one I started after was Outer Banks. That's a great show.
Outer Banks. Yeah, never got into Outer Banks. Is that Netflix as well?
Yeah, I would initially look at it and go, "Oh, this is for like 17-year-old girls."
It's
But
not your demo.
no, but dude, the what's crazy about that show is all the people in that show, which are predominantly like kids, like they're probably like early 20s, maybe 19. They're all friends in real life. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, it seems like it's like this like acting guild or like this acting like they're just like they grew up as all friends or something and then they just all decided to act and they were all featured in a show. It's like they wrote something for Netflix all together and it got picked up by Netflix. So it's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Maybe that's the next thing I get into.
Yeah, yeah. It's you got to stick with it for the first couple, but the plot and the excitement and the character development and like how the characters play off each other is just sensational, I would say.
Sensational. There you go. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Outer Banks and Cobra Kai.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I've been not on Netflix, but I guess we watch it on Hulu, which means it's on like cable TV somewhere. Um, but the show is called Zoe's Playlist. Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist, maybe?
Why I've seen that or heard of that. What is that? Not Deschanel, right?
Not Deschanel. Oh man, that would put it over the top.
Right.
Um, it's I don't know. I've never really seen Glee, but maybe it's sort of like Glee, where there's like singing and dancing. But the basis of it is the main character Zoe injured her head somehow. Forget how it even started, but she can now interpret other people's feelings. Like whatever you're
Oh,
truly feeling in your heart is now like through my eyes, you're singing and dancing, and there's a whole number, and like everyone in the office is like choreographed dancing. It's wild.
I totally remember seeing ads for this show. Like, yeah, she's like stunned because she can feel what the other person is feeling, and then she like breaks. Yeah, yeah. I totally understand what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah. So like they sing some really cool songs, like, and it's their version of it, right? And yeah, it's just really good. It's a fun time.
Picked out a show that had like a woman lead, and it was actually phenomenal. It was called The Queen's Gambit.
Oh yeah, I watched
Yeah.
that. Yeah, that was fascinating.
Yeah, the only like I thought it was great, and the best thing about the show is I thought it finished strong. Like I thought the ending where wait, you said you saw it?
Yeah, yeah, I saw it.
The ending when everybody came together and supported her, like that was really dope. That was probably the best way it could have ended. The only thing I would say about that show is like I still feel like I don't know her. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
feel like the show didn't let you into her as much. Like I felt like we saw her from like the orphanage to becoming the world famous.
Mm-hmm.
Like the character development, like for her, I wasn't like emotionally like tied to her. You know what I mean? Like she was just kind of like
I mean, she was just masking it all with drugs and alcohol, you know?
maybe that was the point. Yeah.
But also, my main takeaway and question was was chess really that big? Was chess really that, was chess really that popular?
Like
Or is this
everyone's
like
standing outside the Kremlin, like they
get like
moved A4 to 7B. Like, yeah, yeah.
yeah, get out of here. I don't believe it. I think it's an alternate history.
Yes, that's probably an embellishment of the sport, if you will. Yeah, I never remember chess being that big. They had like a chess magazine, and like there were like the chess club seemed to be like the thing to do. Like, yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, I that seemed far-fetched. Like you're telling me that people are standing outside standing
Yeah,
outside the Kremlin listening to to chess play by play.
right.
Like, why aren't you going to see the hockey game down the street? Or
Yeah, yeah, the USSR team, like, yeah, destroying America. Like, I think you would want to see like that, and then like people are doing like the mock, like someone's repeating like the moves, and then someone's like moving the pieces so everyone can see like the game. Like, it's like,
yeah,
all right, like that's interesting, but all
yeah.
right,
It's like, okay, I'll buy it. Okay, I'll buy it for 10 episodes, and then I'm out. I'm poking holes right through this.
right. She's making cash, she's buying houses, like,
All through chess? No. Yeah, man, it's great to talk to you. Great to catch up.
I know it was honestly so good to catch up. Definitely just need this regardless, you know.
Yeah.
But all right, Snowball, I'll talk to you shortly.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later, dude.
Later.
Big love. Peace.